Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Healthy AF podcast. With me today is JJ Virgin. JJ, thank you for joining me here at the Health Optimization Summit.
Yes, fun.
You're a
Okay,
legend.
first of all, you look exactly like what a Zane should look like.
Well, thank you. I'm
You
gonna
do.
I'm gonna grab onto that. I like
Yeah.
that. Thank
So
you.
Zane to me is like the heartthrob actor
Ooh.
guy in the, it's like that's it. You look like a Zane. It's perfect.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
I
there you are.
I I
Okay.
appreciate that coming from you. Wow,
Uh-huh.
that's amazing. I appreciate that. Being the trainer to the actors and the stars, so forth that you were.
That, by the way, is a totally overrated thing to do.
No, I know. They're not fun to manage, are they? It's like, give me a businessman any day of the
Oh,
week.
yes. Most of the people I worked with in LA were the owners of the different studios, and then you had the actors, and you get calls at like 3 a.m. Can I eat this? And I'm like, stop,
And they can't
stop
keep
it.
a schedule.
Yeah, I'm like,
And
I'm
you got to
not your
check with their girlfriend
babysitter.
on their schedule.
It's like,
That's the fun part. Oh, my girlfriend runs my schedule. Oh, great. I can't wait to
or
talk.
you want me to pay for that?
Yeah, exactly. So you are best-selling author. You've been a trainer. I mean, you started as a trainer in the late 80s. So, I
I was
mean,
an aerobics instructor. Let's get real. That was my first. I was an aerobics instructor
okay. But that was a thing then.
for Richard Simmons.
Oh,
Yes,
amazing.
come on, you can't make it up. Leg warmers, whole bit. Yep.
But
hmm
but the experience, right? Seeing all the trends come and go. Knowing from personal experience, from being a trainer for however long I've been, 27, 28 years, it's like you're experimenting all the time. So
You
you're
are. Yeah.
constantly training. You're your first client
Oh yeah.
and you're experimenting, everything from diet to exercise routine, to frequency, to volume. You can't teach that because there's a feel for it that you get and working with so many people, so many different people, because each person's different. And what you think works on you or works on the last three people doesn't work on the fourth, right? I mean, there's just nuance that can only come from experience, which you have decades of. And then you're an icon of, you're 61.
60. I'm about to turn like 1 week away from 62. I think
Amazing.
62 is like that age where all of a sudden you can get like Social Security or something.
I mean,
what is
guys,
that?
look at her arms. Look at her arms. Look at this woman. She's, a beacon of fitness. And that speaks volumes about your lifestyle and the things you've learned and what you put into practice. So I can't say enough good things, but
Well, you could keep going. You can.
I appreciate so much to learn from you. And so, I mean, but something about, I think, changes, obviously, after 40, after 50. And what I want to talk to you about is your perspective on how all those tools, those strategies we use from diet to exercise recovery change as we start getting the second half
Yeah.
of our life, right? Past 40, past 50, you're now in your 60s and really setting the bar high. I mean, it's like there are
I wanted
college
to be-
girls, I'm sure, who look at you and go, how does she do that?
It's really more about let's show everyone what's possible.
Yes.
Here's the reality. Like, first of all, I would love to apologize to all of my clients who were, when I first started personal training, my clients were basically in their 40s. A lot of the women and the men were in their 50s. And I look back and I go, the things I was saying to them,
Oh,
I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm
yes.
sorry.
100%.
But the other piece of it is, if I could have gone from 20 to 50 and skipped a lot of the stuff in my 30s and 40s, it's so much better over here. And that's the bigger message to everybody is if you're taking great care of yourself, and that's really the point, isn't it? That all of a sudden you're in just a better mind space, head space.
Yes.
And now you can do all the cool stuff you always want to do. That's the real key to all this. Like, who wanted to go through all that agony that we went through in our 20s and 30s and 40s? And you look at just your life of like raising kids while in school, while running a business, you're like, right? Now it's like, okay, empty nesting, which is the greatest thing ever. I think empty nesting is right. It's fantastic, right?
Mhm.
And now we have puppies. I went, why didn't we start with puppies?
Maybe we start with puppies. Yeah. You might not have had kids.
Right.
They're a lot easier.
And I would have been a better parent too. Like I would have been way better at potty training, just a lot of things had I had the puppies first.
That's hysterical. Yeah, we still have one at home, but we got three in their 20s and one latecomer we had who I'll be 60 when empty nesting. So, but it's fun. If they're down to one instead of three, we can actually like team up on them. But the I love that you're talking about you're in a better headspace, and I think after 40 you're just more comfortable in your own skin.
It really was 50.
It was
50 was
50.
like a
Yeah.
little switch flipped, and I went, oh, you don't like me?
Who
Totally
cares?
fine.
You know,
Don't
I can
care.
relate to that. I can relate to that. 40, I was still kind of that, and
I
then
still
50
care.
was like
I don't
boom.
care.
I think women hit it. Some women hit it sooner, but it's like I've noticed it in women. Like a fit woman, over 40, over 50, sexiest creatures on the planet, and it has to do with confidence, comfortable in their own skin. They know who they are, and it's like this the embodiment of that female, strength, fitness, all the things that we all want that, right? We
Yeah.
want that, and not, male, female, we have our own version of it, but there is a strength to that is internal. It's not external. It comes from within that you're talking about. And it is, it's magnified. I mean, it's just magnetic, I should say. It's magnetic. And, to add the fitness and health component to the wisdom, experience, and discipline that gets developed over those decades, and you really are in the best place in your life.
Yeah.
And so
But here's
I
what's
really,
great. Let's say that someone listening forgot to work out. Because my favorite person is the woman 50 who's like realizes she forgot to lift weights, right? They just, oops, I was busy doing cardio and maybe a little bar class, right? Or a little like Pilates, and they just and the cool thing is you still can have all of the great strength and power, everything else, because you can start now.
yeah.
So you got the head space part of it, and now the rest of it just needs to catch up.
Mm, that's true. Yeah. So it's really a simple practice change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Little lateral shift off that cardio craziness over to the gym.
strength training.
Mm-hmm.
And how about maybe some sprint training, or do you do kind of?
Definitely. Oh yeah. I think like I'm very left brain.
Okay.
So I like everything done in protocols and algorithms,
Gotcha.
right?
Yes.
And I think actually structure creates freedom. So the more we have a great structure, if you have a random workout or a random diet, that does not work. So the first thing I think that we should all start with is just making sure we're actually moving. I
For
think the
sure.
biggest thing that happened during the pandemic is that you didn't have to go anywhere. So you didn't go anywhere. So I bet you if you looked at most people's average steps, they went from, 6,000 to 8,000 down to 3,000. Because that's what we now know the average steps are for people, 3,000 to 4,000 a day, which
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be crazy, right? So, and it turns out that as you you either caloric restrict or add in exercise, you'll generally do less movement to restore equilibrium.
To compensate. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I figure if we just make sure we're moving as much as possible, it's actually the most modifiable thing you can do for your overall metabolism is just make sure you move more.
Mm.
Like if you look at people are always like, I want to boost my metabolism. I'm like, just make sure you're moving more. Like if you look at how we gain weight over time,
Yeah.
it's a little bit. It's a little bit, a little
It's
bit, a little
incremental.
bit.
Yeah.
And people say, I weigh the same as I did in college. I go, yeah, but it's not the same weight. So it doesn't matter. I can pretty much
Composition's a little
guarantee you.
different. Yeah.
Yes. Unless it is. I did a body comp at 39, a DEXA at 39, a DEXA at 59. Exactly the same.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
So there's some
I know.
consistency there, huh?
I knew I was going to do my DEXA, and I actually, shocking to most women, I actually went and put on a little weight to do the DEXA. So I was like, okay, I'm getting ready for it. I just cranked up my weights a little bit more, cranked up calories a little bit to be able to put on muscle, and went and did that DEXA, and then went and ripped it down because I knew where I wanted to be. I wanted to be where I was when I was 20. But it is, you've got to, I hope one of my goals in the next couple years is that we will never look at weight again. Would love to go to a doctor's office and have them only ever do body composition.
Right.
And never look at weight just as a sole metric. Like, could you imagine going to the doctor nowadays and have them go, okay, we looked at your cholesterol, right? It would be ridiculous. No one would do that.
Mhm.
You would go, what are you talking about? What is this, the 90s?
Right.
But
They
yet,
still, but yet they're still doing it. I'm sorry, but
are they still doing total cholesterol?
there are doctors who still look at total cholesterol and think that, yeah,
Okay, well,
that,
I'm just shaming all of you that
oh,
just
yeah,
said
no,
you were
I'm
doing
with
that.
you. I'm with you on cholesterol shaming and the pound shaving and the BMI
Mm,
ridiculous measurement, which is like I'm overweight for a BMI and I'm fairly lean guy, but BMI
yeah,
is like it puts me overweight, and I think in fitness health, I mean, we're always pushing the envelope a little bit, and it's shame that standard medical practice is falling behind. They're not keeping up, but I think it speaks to that we need to be thinking about prevention of disease, not waiting till we get it, start treating it, and not being reactive. But we prevent disease through our lifestyles, what we do every day. It's not dependent on a doctor or a prescription or anything else to help us, save our health. Those are emergency efforts.
right.
And it's what we do every day, year after year after year, as you've proven, that creates a great results that you're at the best part, as you said, you're in the best part of your life here at 60, 61. I mean, most people don't think that way. That's a paradigm shift. You're shifting a
And I'm
paradigm
intending
around
to be at
age.
70 the same way and 80 the same way. Like now like I am literally, I saw an interview with Jennifer Aniston where she said, I'm trying to pack on as much muscle as possible. And go, that's my girl.
There we go.
That's it. I was like, if you look at the statistics of what happens starting around age 30, I'm sure you've seen those aging muscle statistics. Starting
Yeah.
around age 30, we lose up to 1% of our muscle mass a year, which is not the real problem. The problem is it's 2 to 4% strength and 6 to 8% power. That's the scary part. So, but I kept looking at that going, does that really have to happen? Are we losing muscle because we're aging, or are we aging because we're losing muscle? And if we
Mm.
just decided that we're going to focus on maintaining or packing on as much muscle, and you would listen to Dr. Peter Attia and go, oh no, it's just because we're aging. I don't buy it. I think it's because we're buying into it, right? The less you do, the less you can do.
Yeah.
The more you do, the more you can do. All of a sudden you're aging and they're like, oh, are you going to downsize and get into the 1-story house so you don't have to walk up the stairs much? I'm like, no, screw that. Get a 3-story house, get heavy stuff. Don't get an elevator,
Wear your weight vest around the house.
Exactly. Like we were at this dinner last night and Gary Brecka walks in wearing this vest. I go, what the hell are you wearing a vest? It's 90 degrees out. He goes, it's a weighted vest. I go, that's the cutest weighted vest ever. I'm sure he loves that. I told him he had a cute weighted vest on. But it's like, I have to get that because I've been looking for the cute weighted vest that I could just wear all the
Right,
time.
right,
Right. Like, and it was only the girls one is 5 pounds, but think about adding 5 or 10 more pounds
right.
because you look at people that they lose weight and they don't realize that if you lose weight, your total daily energy expenditure, your RMR is going to go down. So here's a way to compensate. Just add weight vest back on. You'll keep your metabolic rate up and you'll help your bone density.
I
There you
mean, yeah,
go.
and in you're loading the spine and the pelvis, which are the
Hmm.
two areas for osteoporosis that are most typical, and
Which
thighs.
it's, by the way, 50% of women 50 plus will have an osteoporotic fracture.
That's
That's
insane.
ridiculous. That's pathetic. And you know what's even more pathetic? The average age they recommend you get a DEXA scan for bone mineral density, 65.
Whoa,
So what are you going to do? Unscramble the egg? Like
should be starting at 45.
you should be starting at 20. Like you look and go, when are we putting on bone? In our teens and 20s.
Oh, putting on well, true. So
So
start to get a baseline.
why would we check
Oh,
like
gotcha.
why wouldn't we start early and then get one every couple of years and then have people do, but I also think if we're lifting muscle, then unless you're doing something really weird like steroids or something, you're going to be fine or.
True. True. Well, I mean, I think that we 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 will lapse, right? So most people don't even think about getting blood work done at 40, maybe at the earliest, but there's no baseline. Well, how do you know things have shifted?
Right.
How do you think change until you've looked at when you were in your prime? Where were your hormone levels then? Where was your
I know
fasting
that's
insulin
always
then?
driven me crazy. It's like, okay, so you're going to try to treat your hormones back to your optimal, but you never took them then.
You don't know which optimal
It's like,
was.
what
You don't
was
know where you
that?
were at 25 or 30. Yeah, that. It's like, why aren't we testing these people to see what optimal is? So we have targets
Yeah.
for what, and which, that opens up another conversation. So hormone replacement therapy. which is something
The
you
greatest thing ever.
will work for hormones. That's what will
Well,
work for hormones.
I am so lucky because literally all my friends are hormone docs. My 50th birthday party, we were all in South Beach. It was Dr. Sarah Gottfried, Dr. Anna Kubecka, Dr.
Wow.
Jen, like all the hormone docs. And, happy birthday. Here's your estrogen patch, right? But I was on hormones from the literally about a month into, I was like, why am I not recovering from the gym? And then I went over to my dentist and I go, my gums are bleeding. He goes, oh, that's estrogen. I go, oh. So I never suffered through anything because anything would go down. I remember like I was starting to feel a little cold and my doc's like, oh, that's thyroid. Like, so I've always been on hormones from the moment I noticed a thing.
Wow, you have some great docs.
Yeah.
I mean, progressive, like ahead of the curve,
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and testosterone,
Yeah.
which I think, from what I'm understanding and seeing, that can be one of the first
It was the
hormones
first
to
thing I
start
went.
growing
Yeah. So
in women.
actually, yeah, it
Yeah.
was interesting. They talk about progesterone going low. That was never really the issue. And when my estrogen started to drop, actually, they didn't put me on estrogen. It was Dr. Alan Christensen put me on testosterone because initially that will keep your estrogen up. So
Yeah, you'll
I
convert
did,
enough to
right.
offset
So
the.
I did
Yeah.
testosterone until that stopped working. And then at first, I also discovered what it felt like to be a guy because at first it was a little too much. I was like, oh, I get you guys now. Yes.
And my wife
So
said the same thing.
yeah,
She's
it's
like,
like,
"You feel like this all the
I was like,
time?" I'm like,
wow.
"Yeah,
I,
sorry, hon,
yeah,
but that's just how it is."
I get it now. I was like, wow, wow.
Yeah.
So many things make sense.
Good
So
stuff.
yeah, it's like I'm so happy to be.
I tell the guys, you want your wife on testosterone. Horny
Yeah,
wife, happy life.
yeah. And you
I
know
mean, it's
what?
like
Honestly, the dosing. I just did a podcast. I had Dr. Kelly Casperson on my Well Beyond
oh
40
yeah, she's
podcast.
awesome. Yeah.
She's fabulous. I'm like, okay, so we're dosing this too low. I get it. So I've been cranking it up.
The testosterone.
Yeah, cranking it. I'm just cranking up little by little because at first I was like, I think I'm angry.
Hmm.
So I'm just
There's an
being
adjustment
careful.
period.
Yes, I'm like careful because my husband's like, you seem irritable. I'm like a little irritated. So we're
That's
being
just
careful,
getting used
but
to it. Yeah.
it's just like it's really figuring out the right thing for the N of one. But man,
Yes.
that's been I look at most women who, and it's really the women who are like 65 and up, got so screwed because they were the Women's Health Initiative
Oh my
desert.
God. Yes.
It's just awful.
It's set women's health back decades.
Decades. And we have a couple docs in Mindshare, but one specifically, Dr. Felice Gersh. I don't know if you've interviewed her. She's fantastic. And she specializing on putting women on hormones who were in that forgotten time period because they're all like, oh, it's too late. It's like, it's not too late.
Right. Right. All the fear of cancer and so forth. It's like, well, it's apoptotic
Women
to cancer.
die of heart disease.
Yeah.
Women die of heart disease. That's our number one killer.
Yeah. And actually, you pass men after, as far as the rate goes, it's like 2.8, 1 out of 2.
It's like the minute estrogen goes down, we break our bones, we get dementia, we get heart disease. Like you look at all that stuff and I go, why are we worried about breast cancer when these are such bigger problems? And most of the breast cancers, like I have another doctor, Dr. Jen Simmons, who works with women to get them on hormones after a breast cancer diagnosis. So, I mean, it's like there's so much information out there now.
They don't cause cancer. You just got to manage them.
If breast cancer, like if estrogen caused breast cancer, then why would we have this happening later and not during the times when we've got
not when you're 20 and 30? And I say the same thing about testosterone and prostate cancer. It's the same thing. Like, why are not all these like NFL football players who are like the most testosterone jacked people on the planet not getting prostate cancer? It's the guy who's 65 or 70 and his testosterone's on the floor. I have a client who came back, after they noticed some early detection, prostate, treated, came off, came back on. He's back on, feeling better, 70 years old, and he's vibrant again. And it's just like that. So, and with so many women, it's I feel like my old self again. I feel, clearing the brain fog. It's like the energy, the drive, the
everything.
It's
your
like you got
mood, your heart, your bones, your everything.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
amazing.
It's like you'll have to, like, I will never go off these hormones. And then there was the whole thing, if you can be on them for 10 years. And I'm like,
what? Why would you come off
I'm
of
sorry,
them?
I'll stockpile them if I need to, but that's not happening. That was just old information. there's so much information when you dig into it and go, well, why is that? They go, well, that we've lost funding for the study after this amount of time. You're like, oh
Just don't make that
God.
my problem.
Wow.
Don't make that if it
Okay.
works for
All
the first
right.
5 years, it's gonna make the next 5 years, the next 5 years, it's that. I'm not letting it
Yeah.
go. You're gonna have to I'm gonna be like pulling him out of a cow somewhere if I
Yeah,
have to. But
exactly.
they really are life changing for health, for mood, for just maintaining relationships.
I was gonna say for
Yeah,
relationships, like,
relationship is it's vital, and people don't like what? No, trust me.
yeah,
I mean, because if you don't feel good about yourself and you have low energy and low libido and your brain fog and you don't have the patience for anything, especially a spouse.
yeah. How's that gonna work?
Yeah, how's that gonna work? And so start and looking early. I mean, I love that. Early detection, start looking early, get a baseline. And there's still, it's wild that how many practitioners still don't grasp this. I was in LA a couple weeks ago at a conference, and this woman came after me after my presentation. She said, I went to this supposed to be women's health clinic just opened up right around the corner in Hollywood. She went to them thinking she was going to get testosterone replacement there because she's mid 40s, not menopausal yet, or early 40s, maybe right around 40. But they said, oh no, we just deal with the female hormones, estrogen and progesterone. We don't deal with
Testosterone's
testosterone.
our highest hormone.
Exactly. That's what I told the woman who was speaking to me. I said, that you
Go
have more
run away
testosterone
from
than
that
anything
clinic.
else. It's not a female hormone, it's a human hormone. And but it blows my mind that a practice could open in Hollywood, of all places, where they should be the most progressive and dealing with all the beauty
Mm,
center of the US, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And if they don't handle testosterone for women, it's like the first one they should be going on, other than maybe thyroid. And
Mm.
so there's a huge disconnect with our medical practitioners and the current evidence, not people tinkering and experimenting and biohacking with these things with these are prescriptions you can get from
Well,
practitioners who know what they're talking about.
good luck getting testosterone prescriptions. I mean, you can get a prescription, but it's not covered by insurance.
No, you gotta be out of pocket.
Yeah.
But you know
But
what?
it's like,
It's worth it.
oh, it's totally worth it. But I mean, it's ridiculous for women that they can get an estradiol patch, they can get progesterone, they can get all that stuff covered, but
Oh,
they
sure.
cannot get testosterone
That's
covered.
yeah. That doesn't
That's
make
really
sense.
ridiculous.
That doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You're right. And men, I mean, I don't know if you get a prescription or not. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
I
like,
don't want it. I don't care.
yeah.
Go to
It's
now.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
How much is it? Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter
It
because
doesn't
I
matter.
perform better. It's like,
I'll
oh,
sell my
you're on
house for
testosterone.
this.
Well, and then you get on, and all of a sudden you're out of your rut, and you're performing better, and you
Yeah.
feel better about your career, and you're like, oh, you know what? I could do this, and you get more creative.
You're going to love this. I had one gal DM me. She goes, well, my husband went to his doctor and his doctor says testosterone is fine. It's 300. I go, what? What? 300?
Oh yeah,
300?
yeah. 300 is
It's
you're
like,
tanked.
yeah.
Is
I'm
he?
like,
Does he get off the
wow.
couch?
Wow.
Does he get off? Yeah, what they think is normal
Oh,
is not optimal. And that's the other thing is normal versus optimal. How do you feel? Do they ask anyone how they feel? Normal for what? Normal for their age. And that's what you get normal. It's with the quotes of normal for
yeah.
your age. Well, who the hell wants to be normal
Yeah.
for their
I get
age?
that.
Not when you're over 40, you never want to be normal for your age,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I
Right?
wouldn't want to
Yes.
be normal for my 25-year-old self because there's enough things that are, that come with age that if I can get one of them back to 25, hello. But the normal for your age thing just doesn't make sense. And docs don't get it. I talked to a guy who went to a doc he went to a younger doc. He said, oh no, your testosterone's better than mine. I'm like, well, then that guy needs
You're
help.
in trouble.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble, but you definitely would have qualified for some testosterone. And with women, I think even more so with testosterone, it's like, how do you feel? There isn't like I think a set range. I think some women feel better at one point, but then where like my wife, for instance, she's way out of range where she feels
Well, Dr.
good.
Kelly Casperson said it's like you should be up around 100. So I was like, oh, okay, I can push this.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, look
okay,
at her
let's
free
see.
T. Her free T will be up. She'll be up over 10. Where the range is sometimes like you might see up to 10. If she gets below 10, I could tell. Like I was like, have you been keeping up with testosterone? No, I forgot. I kind of ran out. I'm like, get on it now.
How is she taking cream or shot?
She has done both. Currently on a cream.
Yeah, I was going to say, my husband knows because he gives me shots because I'm a big baby about giving myself a shot.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
we've dosed the shots like this much. It's hard, and so she's done both, and we tried both. But if she gets low, like in the normal range, she's a little more anxious. she's not
Mm,
quite herself. I almost thought, I'm like, I know you're okay. You're fit and you're menopausal, so you're not pregnant and you're not, it's not that time of the month because you don't have those anymore. So what is going on? Oh, I forgot my testosterone. It's just like if her testosterone gets low, things are off.
yeah.
I can tell. And she likes it high. And that's her. It's like you said, the N of one. Someone else might like it down in the lower, and they're good. But it has to be, it's not this little parameter everyone's
Mm-mm.
supposed to fit in. Women, we should know that by now. You guys don't fit in a box. You
Right.
don't, you guys are all unique. And
Well,
so,
yeah, you look at some women, you go, like some women love progesterone.
yeah.
I hate it. I feel horrible on it.
Mm.
I get cystic acne on it. Like
Ooh.
it is, yeah, brutal. I remember early on, one of my pharmacist friends was like, take this, it'll be great for blah, blah, blah. And I gained 12 pounds in a week, broke out. I go, this is not, don't like this, don't like this.
Whoa.
And when I had my babies, the minute I get pregnant, I was like, cystic acne, would gain 10 pounds, like poof. And I go,
Oh,
I don't do well with
gotcha.
progesterone, not my thing, you know. And some people are like, I take it every night. I sleep like a baby. Oh, not me, you know.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
just got to find that thing, you know.
And it's got to be personalized.
Yeah.
It's definitely personalized. I think more so for women than men because you do have three interacting with each other
Yes.
in your
Now I have a
body.
theory on it though.
Oh,
Here's the
good.
thing is when you look at your hormones, I think what the woman has to do going into her doctor, she has to do everything possible so that you can then, I think you use the least amount of hormones to get the best effect because you've done everything else. So you've got your diet dialed, you
Absolutely.
got your exercise dialed, you got your sleep dialed, and the biggest one is your adrenal system. You're dealing the stress stuff. Like if I could go back and tell my younger self anything, it would have been like, go hang out with Dr. Joe Dispenza way sooner in life. Like go find meditation because I was like, I can't do that. I meditate when I run. I was like, I meditate at the gym.
Hmm.
I was like,
Stress hormones are
yeah,
blasted and I'm
it's like
meditating.
that's what I do.
Uh,
It's hit training. That's how I
so
train.
many women, though, use cardio as a stress mechanism. They do it to the point, oh, too much. Well, that's my mental health. It's wearing you down.
Yeah, I was always a hit. I like literally when everyone else was crazy cardio, I was like lifting weights, but it was weights and hit. But hit was like that's what I do. That's how I handle my stress. It was like sit down quietly and no, not doing that. And then during the pandemic, when everything gets canceled, I went to a Dr. Joe retreat because what else are you going to do during a pandemic? Might
Mm.
as well go with 1,200 people and do breath work during the pandemic. That's a perfect thing. And but what was interesting is no one gets sick because, like, he showed research that was wild about how your body's own pharmacy and what your meditation did for your immune system. And literally 1,200 people doing breath work in a room during pandemic and no one's getting sick. Wow. Anyhow, I went in April, June, September, January. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna master this.
Of course
So
you did.
how good are they?
I, that's shocking.
I had breakfast with him. I'm like, so what type A people, how do they I go, this seems to be a lot harder for me than it is for everybody else in the room. He's like, yeah, took about a year.
But that's amazing. But you did it,
I
and it's so
did.
needed. I mean, that's what a lot of my clients are. I'm sure a lot of your clients are type A, master like you, and the hardest thing is get them to recover. Right?
Yeah.
They want to diet harder, they want to
Yeah.
work out harder, and they don't need diet harder or work out harder.
Mm-mm.
They need recovery for because they already have the stressors, their job, their family,
Yeah.
all the things they just want to do because they do it for fun, and they would do fun things. It's usually extreme
Yeah.
or physically demanding things.
Yeah.
And so they have all these stressors. They want, and they're like, oh, I got to fix this. So I'm going to do this more stress harder when we've punted the recovery. We punt sleep. We, we don't want to look at it. Oh, the tracking makes me anxious. I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
because you're suck at it and you want to face what you're bad
Because
at.
I'm not good at it and
And I'm
it
not good at
pisses me
how do
off and
you
I can't
sleep
control it.
harder? How do you
Yeah.
recover harder? Well, and I'm guilty of it as well. But it's the I think teaching or helping people understand that embracing recovery, embracing bringing things down. It's not laziness. It's not a lack. You're actually has a positive
Yeah.
benefit on everything else you do. So you can do that, perform at a higher level. Otherwise, you're on a slow decline. You're just chipping away at your ability to really come back.
Well, and you look at like what happens when women start to go into perimenopause. That is the time. Okay, so if estrogen and progesterone are going down, cortisol's coming up. And if cortisol's coming up, now it's like that shift. My mom called it shifting sands. I'm like, I'm not going to have that shifting sands. It was like you lose your butt, it goes to your gut.
True.
So I was like, what happened, but it is because you've got all those cortisol receptors in your belly.
Yes.
And so now estrogen's going down, which is anabolic. So now you're not building muscle. You're eating the same or probably less. Your cortisol's up, and now you're storing visceral adipose tissue. So you're just trashing yourself. And so then you get more stressed about it. So you do more to try you do everything harder, which is just doing the worst. Then you think, what I'll do is throw intermittent fasting onto the fire. I'll throw that onto the fire because that'll you know how that works. So
all too well. I overdid that as well.
I tried that and I was like, okay, let's give this one a go. And I've always been a breakfast person, like always, like an obsessive breakfast person. Even when I was, starting to train people at 5:36 in the morning, I always was a breakfast person. I had breakfast before I'd go do that.
Wow.
And now I like to eat breakfast about 2 hours after waking up. But I tried pushing it till after the gym. And I did it for 3 months. And then I went back and tried breakfast and then the gym. And I went, wow, that really tanked my workout. This is not working here. And I'm really convinced because so many people are like, well, I go, why are you doing that intermittent fasting? Oh, for autophagy.
Right.
I'm like, don't you exercise?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I can't find any study anywhere that says exactly when autophagy, and it's a dial, not an on-off switch, but I can't find the information on when it actually starts to really happen in terms of your intermittent fasting. And it's got to do with your metabolic health, but it's way more predictable to create it through exercise than it is through intermittent fasting. As far as I can tell, what intermittent fasting does is restrict the amount of calories you're eating.
Yes, that's about it.
That's
a
what
real
it seems.
like a 48-hour fast, you're gonna get some autophagy
Right.
benefit. But I just, as Brad, I was talking
And
to
then
Brad
you're gonna lose some
Kearns,
muscle,
and
too.
he mentioned muscle. Mike Muscle pointed,
Yeah.
I think it was something, but 48-hour fast, you get the high autophagy, but then a 1 hour hard workout gives you as much autophagy as a 48-hour
Wow.
fast.
Without the muscle loss.
Without the muscle loss, without having to skip a meal.
Without being angry.
Without snapping at your spouse.
I can't even even we were doing the fasting mimicking diet and, I was like, this will be fun. Let's do this. I make it 3 days. I look at Tim. I'm like, we were out at a show in Tampa at like a little off Broadway. It's like we're at Hamilton. We're about midway through Hamilton. And I look at him and I go, I need a steak now. And I'm really getting angry. And we have to go get this now, now. He's like, okay.
Yes, dear.
He's like doing fine. I'm like, nope, can't do it. Couldn't never make it past
cortisol. And I think it is different for women than men, and just how we're energetically built different. And that's not a disparaging comment at all. It's just acknowledging that men and women are different. And we have
There's nothing wrong with saying men and women are different. I'm sorry.
No.
I was like,
but I mean, you have to. So women's bodies are made to create a life, right? And within them,
I don't think we were meant to fast. I think men are meant to go out and go hunt for a while. You'd have to deal with this.
Yes.
Right.
And women, like cortisol, except sensitive to cortisol, starve in a diet, or let's say in an energy starved state, you're not going to be able to conceive ideally, right? It's not a great time to have, if food's scarce, you don't want to reproduce. And so I think, and women, just your bodies require that balance. And especially since even in menopause, if you're balancing your hormones, it's like you're going to have the same kind of response.
Well, menopause, you've got cortisol going up.
That's true.
So why would you do something to make it worse?
Right.
And you're losing muscle. So you're losing muscle, cortisol's going up. Gee,
fasting?
that's a great idea. What could possibly go wrong?
I'm with you. I over leveraged fasting for about 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
It took me a while. I have a thick skull. And so I was experimenting. It was the whole, I'll intermittent fast harder. I'll do fasted workouts harder.
Wow.
Until I finally hit a wall where it's like, I'm not sleeping. Everything hurts. I'm burning. I have no energy. And it was like,
light bulb went on then?
Finally, it took me a while. I wasn't as bright as others. Not as bright. but I wanted to, I was at over 11. So I learned the hard way experimenting, but now I'm even more, and it's one of those things where I kind of got, you get emotional with your tools, you get emotional with your theories and your philosophies, you kind of get romantic with them, right?
Mm,
And you're like, you get glued onto the tool and rather than the outcome, and you lose sight of what's my goal here? Is it optimal health and energy
yeah.
and strength? And it's like, oh, but this tool, this strategy, this is the thing. And I got a little too in love with my strategy that thinking, oh, I just need to do it better or harder, or it's because I'm getting older. And it was like, no, it's not the ideal strategy for a
Yeah.
metabolically healthy person who's trying to optimize and perform at a high level. So you eat like a dieter, but you're trying to perform more like an athlete. That doesn't, your strategies are
Well,
conflicted.
and let's look at eating like a dieter. The single, like, I think that one of the biggest problems that we've done to create poor metabolic health, which, like, what do you think it is now? Like, the only thing that's seeming to change the curve on our metabolic health are GLP-1s at this point. So if you look at our metabolic health, that was what, less than 7% of us were metabolically healthy before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I contend that a lot of that is because of dieting.
Diet culture,
I think
dieting.
that
Yeah.
like and I don't want to say diet culture because I also think that whole thing of like health at any size is the biggest crock of crap ever. Like it's ridiculous. There's no health at any size. That's now don't body shame someone. Everyone's doing the best they can do with a lot of it with stupid information, misinformation. But this idea of losing weight, that's why I am on such a mission to get rid of us looking at weight rather than what your weight's made up of.
Mm,
If you focused first on muscle, then once you knew that you were now in a place of building muscle, you had those strategies in place, you were eating enough protein, you had maybe essential amino acids and creatine and doing all the things and lifting weights and making sure you were moving enough, then we can start to throw in some caloric restriction so you'll lose fat. But if we don't do it that way, if we first start with caloric restriction and we don't have you lifting weights and we don't have you optimizing protein and you aren't doing things like creatine, then you're going to lose muscle and fat. And I just read something, I'm trying to find this research because I was like, that makes so much sense. It was basically that whole like, when you eat after you lose the weight and then you're hungrier, right? And it turns out that apparently you're hungrier because your body's trying to get you back to the muscle mass you had before. Just like we know there's the protein leverage hypothesis where we will continue to eat to get enough protein throughout the day. So if
correct.
we're eating a higher carb, higher fat diet, we'll overeat in an effort to get enough protein. That when we've lost the weight, we'll start to get that hunger back to get our muscle mass back. Except the problem is typical diet, not a GLP-1 necessarily. These are not what's doing it. It's a diet. It's the caloric restriction without optimal protein and resistance training. You're going to lose 25 to 40% of your muscle,
Mm,
which is so damn hard to get on. People are afraid to put muscle on. I'm like, don't be afraid. Be afraid of losing it.
yes.
Never once have I, in 40 years of helping women lift weights, I've never had a woman get bigger lifting weights. I've had a woman get bigger not lifting weights.
Right.
That's what gets them big. Sit on the couch, I can get you big any day, all day. But, so you lose the muscle and fat, and then you gain fat back. You lose the muscle and fat, you gain fat back. And then over time, you've really just screwed your metabolism, you screwed your metabolic health, because the biggest way to improve your metabolic health is what? Put on muscle.
Right. Yeah. And it's a neurohormonal environment, which you are setting yourself up to gain fat back because of the elevated cortisol, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
and then your metabolism sucks
Right.
because, your biggest lever really for your your resting metabolic rate is muscle. And then, of course, when you have more muscle, that muscle contraction is going to help you burn more fat and
Yeah.
be more insulin sensitive and have better immune system and have better mood and have everything, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's metabolic Spanx. It holds everything in
Well, and
tighter.
the thyroid compensates too when you're on those low calorie or low carb
Yeah.
diets. You have a thyroid dropping, and then you're like, screw this, I'm done being angry at everybody. You
Yeah.
start eating again, your thyroid's low. So you're not converting it into energy, you're storing as fat
Yeah.
as
It's
a
just like,
compensatory method of like, hey, we're starving. So you're setting yourself up, like you said, to put on fat
yeah.
through the diet cycle.
And be stuck there forever. And that's why it's like I look at it and go, what if if we knew that 95% of diets fail over time, like it's like a 5-year failure rate, why would we keep doing that? That is that insanity definition. What if we never did that again?
Mhm.
We never just stepped on a scale and looked at total weight because it's a meaningless number. We
Mhm.
only concentrated on what that weight is made up of. We focused on doing everything that we could, especially if you're 30 and older, of like everything you can to put as much muscle as humanly possible on your body. Like that is my biggest thing now. It's like, how do I get more muscle? Which, by the way, is so flippin' hard.
Really
It's
is.
like so hard.
Yeah.
It's so
Even
hard.
with hormone replacement therapy, we're not doing, you're not doing steroids at a bodybuilder level. You're doing a bioidentical, like
Yeah, that
appropriate,
little.
physiologically appropriate level to optimize, not to over leverage. It's nowhere near what someone would do who's trying to step on us. It's still hard to put on muscle after 40, after 50, 60. It's work. And it's not, it's the most important thing you could do for you. That as you're saying, it's a biometric that we need to be paying more
Yeah,
attention to rather than some of the, like the cholesterol,
I would argue like here would be my, if I was the benevolent dictator of health,
ooh,
this
let's
is
hear it.
what I would have people do. You go to your practitioner's office, you do a hand grip test,
Mm,
you do a VO2 max test,
mm,
you do a body composition assessment. Then you get like fasting insulin, vitamin D, HSCRP,
mhm.
you know, that's all we'd really like. We could tell enough from
A
that,
hormone panel, maybe.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and then, well, we know if you're like having any symptoms that you're screwed. Like if you're 40 plus with symptoms, then we like can look at any of those things, thyroid
Sure.
first, and look at a real thyroid panel, not a stupid TSH, and make a decision. Oh, you're not 5. We had a person when I was doing the weight loss challenges on Dr. Phil. We had one of our weight loss challengers who like lived on soy, and her TSH was 4.5. She couldn't lose weight, and I'm like, well, because you need some thyroid, but it was in the range.
Range.
It was in the range. We had another gal. We were working with these teens, and this one teen walks in, and I'm like looking at her, and she was abnormally tall for a gal, and I go, what? And so one of the things I said, why don't we test her fasting insulin? It was 17.
Whoa.
No one had ever tested it, and you know what? The one of the docs on the show was like, well, you're not allowed to test that. I go, I didn't test it. I said, I recommended getting it tested. And now I'm bringing you the number to show you the number. And you don't know what to do about it. So now you're throwing it back at, I'm like going, 17, it should be 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Like this is why
Well,
she's not losing
the
weight.
doctors don't know how to read it.
I'm
They'll,
like,
oh,
oh,
1 to 20 is normal.
it's like,
No, no, 17, that's diabetic.
yeah, it's like going 17, this poor
On
girl.
a
And no
teenager.
one, and by the way, this girl had struggled with her being, obese for years, and no one had looked. No one had ever looked. Her mom was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Why isn't fasting insulin a normal part of the complete metabolic
And
panel?
vitamin D,
And vitamin D. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Right. And a body composition test
You're right. You
and a
should be
VO2
benevolent
max
dictator. I vote for you to be
and a
benevolent
hand grip,
dictator.
like a VO2 max, like the number one most predictive metric for your lifespan and health span. And we don't look at it.
Yeah. And that's the whole, I like back to what we cannot rely on the medical industry to lead health prevention. That it really comes back to, we have to be our own best advocate
Right.
for our health. The knowledge is there now. We have it. We know. You're going to have to educate yourself. Go to your doctor. I want a fasting insulin. I want a hormone panel.
By the way, just go to Function Health. Have you
Or that.
used
Yes,
Function
yeah,
Health?
Function
It's
Health. I mean, yeah,
$500
you can do it
for the
yourself.
year.
Own your own labs.
It's going to be cheaper than trying to get some of these other things, right? It's like, so go to Function Health, then go get a body scan,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you can Google how to do your own little, it's not going to be the same as getting a VO2 max, but let's be honest, a VO2 max test sucks. They're awful. We had to do them all in graduate school. And we're like, who's going to be the guinea pig today? Because it's just an awful test to do, but you can do a predictive one on a treadmill.
Mm.
And it's going to get you close enough. And you can buy a hand grip dynamometer on Amazon for $30.
There you
So
go.
there you go.
You're managing your own health.
Right? There you go. It's cheaper than way cheaper than going and getting it. And the practitioner won't know what to do with this unless they're one of our great integrative functional ones.
Right. Absolutely. That's
Mhm.
it really, we have to take charge of it. We have to be our own best advocate. And sometimes you have to educate your doctor or find a new one.
You know what? No, you do not have to. It is not your job to educate your doctor. It
Well,
is not your job.
If you want to keep
If
them.
you are in that situation where you're educating your doctor, you need a new doctor. Right? I mean, come on.
No, I agree.
Like, that's ridiculous.
I agree. No, they should know fasting insulin. They should know some of these basic things, but they don't have a medication for them. and they've got about 8 minutes to spend with you to determine if they need to write a script or put you on a procedure or let you go and say you're fine for now.
We'll
So
watch it. Let's
we'll
watch that.
watch it. We'll keep an eye on it. See you in a year. And yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. JJ.
That was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you have? What's on your agenda right now? What are you charting forward in?
So I'm finishing my book. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Uh,
Which book?
this is I'm not revealing the cover yet, but it basically is all about body composition and why we have been looking at the wrong thing and it's caused all these problems for so long. And that when you look at muscle changes everything. And it's actually like your life will be so much easier and it's not that hard. When you look at the actual statistics for the CDC guidelines, if 2 times a week, 30 minutes of resistance training. Now they don't designate how hard, and then 150 minutes of exercise a week. Do you know how many people, adults, meet that?
Not many.
19%.
Yeah.
And
not
that's
many.
not really saying, okay, well, when we look at those, what are you really doing? You're lifting heavy. Are you doing some HIIT training, right? But
It's not a quality measurement. It's a quantity
no.
measurement.
So you
Yeah.
figure it's probably, I don't know. Well, if you look at the fact of 75% of people are overweight or obese and less than 7% metabolically healthy, I'm thinking maybe 5% are hitting it.
Yeah.
Like I just go to the gym and look at what people are doing.
Oh yeah. No, I can't anymore. I have to work out in my own garage. I can't go to the gym. I put on blinders. Like I can't look. But
Yeah.
yes,
It's like,
I do what you're saying.
don't say anything.
There's plenty of There's plenty of evidence to the contrary that people are not accomplishing.
So I am on a mission to be way more vocal about it, and I'm kind of fearless. I don't really care if you don't like what I'm saying.
Another
It's
benefit
like,
of age, right?
it's like, okay. So that's what I'm really working on. I'm also a big creatine pusher.
Good.
I am a big pusher. So I actually have a product called Sheatine that my husband named. So
That's
cute.
hysterical
It's,
and
and then
fantastic at the same time.
we
That's
actually
brilliant.
cover the S and go, guys can use it too. But it's a creatine, HCl, taurine, magnesium blend. It's so good. It's like amazing. So I'm very excited.
Wow. So you
Right?
get the energetic.
I
like,
know.
humming
It's
and
like,
the
let's just drive
magnesium.
that ATP.
Yes.
Yes, it's a very smart thing.
Sheatine.
Sheatine.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. I know. Super excited about that.
Well, but that's how you get women to adopt something that's been so masculinized and turned into the bro
Well,
supplement.
that is the thing. It's not just for gym dudes, bros.
Gym
but
bros.
gym
No,
bros.
it's
But
women. Yeah.
here's the reality, though. So creatine monohydrate, which you'll hear the misinformation campaign out there, that's the only one you should use. It's the most studied, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, well, should I use a rotary phone too? Like, I mean, that logic doesn't make sense. But creatine monohydrate in 76% of people who take it, they'll get bloating and GI issues. Now, a dude gets a little bloating. He's not going to go off of it. A woman gets bloated. She's done. She's gone. Right.
Correct.
And I mean, I'd never gotten so much blowback as when I started trying to get women to get on creatine monohydrate. So the creatine HCl has none of the side effects because it's 7 times more absorbed. The whole misinformation campaign about creatine monohydrate being 100% absorbed, nothing's 100% absorbed anyway, is BS, and only about 15% is. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's my mission, is to get women on it, because it's the ultimate thing that women need to be on, because we have less tissue, we have less muscle mass, less tissue stores of creatine.
Mhm.
And then we're also not like chowing down on 2 pounds of meat.
Right. So the source
I
is
am,
lower.
but most
and
people
yeah,
are.
right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And they're showing for cognitive function.
Oh,
for
huge for cognitive function.
And I think women are the ones coming up for bone health. And I think that's probably because increased strength is going to pull in the bones. You're going to get the bone density going there. But I mean, for whatever it is, whatever the mechanism is, you're getting bone density, which is another
muscle, bone, brain, skin, immune, and energy, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
JJ, thank you so much.
Oh, thank
this
you.
has been action packed. I mean, just so dense, and I appreciate your time. You're an icon, and I love that you're continue to change the paradigm.
I'm more excited now about everything than I've been ever, to be honest. Like, I'm more fired up now.
I get you. You're
Right?
passionate,
And we have so many great tools out.
Yeah.
I mean, peptides and testing.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah. All about it.
world.
Yeah. We got. So we're like, what do we do with all these syringes?
It's a great time to be 50,
peptides?
60,
It really is. I mean, it's just like we have all these tools at our disposal to really, but you are changing the paradigm, and that is your willingness to keep moving forward and not get stuck in old ideas that aren't working anymore. You're like, no, 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 we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better. And you've personified that. And so I think that's where, when's the book out?
Next spring.
Next spring. You make us wait a year? And you're
You know
teasing,
how
you are
books
really
are?
teasing us, aren't you?
Books are like a
No, I do. And they're
slog,
excruciating.
man.
I probably swore I'd never write
Oh.
another one, or you'd have to drug me through it, or I have to.
That's what I say every time I do, and I'm like, that's the last
Last
one.
No, no, they're painful. They're painful. They just zap
Yeah.
you. And
This
it's like,
one's been really painful. This has been a 2-year process with this one. Like, and I keep going. I have to go walk away from it because there's so much research coming out all the time. I'm
yeah,
like,
that's the
walk
thing.
away.
You lock
Walk
yourself in the
away.
thing, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There's more? There's more?
Yeah.
So, I respect it, and I'm like, I get it. But I appreciate, again, your time, your knowledge, sharing it with us. And again, continuing to push forward. You're not letting back. You're not letting off the gas.
No, I'm not.
You are more passionate than ever, and
Yeah.
you're charging forward, and you're changing the paradigm, and you're helping people everywhere really change what their trajectory will be for their life as they walk forward, and how to be healthy as we age. So awesome.
Thank
Love it.
you.
Thank you.